Griffin.
Hello, everybody.
I'm going to start the introductions. So today we have some staff from the Tug-YOU-me-you-loo, Noon-uh-me-YOU-loo Housing Authority in Alaska. And we have Aldin Ridley. He's a maintenance person for TNHA, the building manager for a subset of units. JU is the maintenance service manager for TNHA. He has years of experience in field service for fiber optics, communication equipment, field service and refurbishment of imaging and print processing equipment prior to facility maintenance and housing maintenance. And we have Griffin. Griffin Hagel is the CEO of TNHA, serving Alaska's remote North Slope, having been introduced to the building science as a weatherization installer in his hometown in Medford, Oregon in 2006, and later working as an energy auditor and program administrator. He is professionally committed to buildings and energy systems that deliver the security and prosperity people everywhere deserve. They'll be discussing induction stove conversions for 29 of their units.
Woo! Thank you for that wonderful and warm introduction. And thank you for allowing us an opportunity to introduce our wonderful staff, my colleagues, Aldin and Jay. They're really the stars of this because they're in the operation of these units day to day. As introduced, we work with Tug-YOU-me-you-loo, Nunamiullu Housing Authority up on the North Slope of Alaska. And this is just a little bit of our experience with an induction stove conversion in one of our multifamily units. So before I turn it over to Aldin and Jay to get in the meat of what we learned, I'll just set a little bit of context about our organization and our region, talk about the climate and logistics we're faced with, and then let them kind of go into the project overview and what we've learned from this conversion and service upgrade that we had to do. So TNHA, as most people refer to us as, was incorporated in 1974. We're one of the 14 regional housing authorities serving Alaska. We're located in Utqiaġvik, the town formerly known as Barrow, which is the northernmost city in the U.S. We're the tribally designated housing entity for several Alaska Native villages in this region, which is approximately the size of Minnesota. And we've got about 35 full-time staff. And I think all of the speakers, our panelists today, are represented in this photo. So you can see Jay standing right behind, or right under the A on our sign, and then I'm two faces over from him, and then you can see Aldin up there in the bed of the pickup truck on the right-hand side. So we're all represented, and there's some of our wonderful staff. We manage about 300 units of HUD-assisted and market rate housing, so about 12% of the regional housing stock. Just a little bit about our region, about 600 miles from Point Hope in the Chukchi Sea above the Bering Strait to the village of Tug-YOU-me-you-loo near the Canadian border. So big region. Our communities are predominantly Inupiaq. There's 8 of them in the region, which is larger than 39 US states. Most of our deliveries are by plane or barge. Like I said, it's the size of Minnesota, but if you imagine Minnesota just without any roads, you'd be close to imagining the region we serve. And then it's a challenging environment. The winter temperatures can hit 50 below zero Fahrenheit, and we've got about 20,000 heating degree days. And then if you were to combine West Virginia and Oklahoma, you could get a region about the size of ours there. It's one of the fastest changing climates in the world as well, and certainly in the United States, almost 6 degrees of temperature change from 1969 to 2018, and you can see that in the accumulated thaw degree days over the last century or so, which our entire region is based on permafrost, so that has implications for our infrastructure and the housing that you manage. And I'd like to turn it over to Jay or Aldin to talk a little bit about their day-to-day, just the logistics they're faced with, how things get to and from here and around between our communities. So I'd like to just put some images up and give you guys a chance to talk about what it's like to do the work you do here.
We are in a place called Utqiaġvik in Inupiat, way to say, Inupiat name. We were called Barrel, and the city name changed to Utqiaġvik a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. Yes. So it's a little, we're in a transition on that name change still, but anyway, we are up here and in a town where about 5,000 people living and working. We are only reachable by air almost all the time. Once a year, sea opens and then we receive things on a barge. So a lot of most of the stuffs needed for construction and building materials have to be planned way ahead and have to make it up here on a barge. Otherwise, it has to be aired in, and it's really costly. Because of that, things are very expensive up here. Sometimes one potato can be as expensive as $4 or $5. We cover 7 other villages. We fly out from here, as you see on the slide, that small plane. Sometimes we have to charter a plane in order to move materials to support the people living in villages. It could be as expensive as $10,000 for a round trip. So we are in a region where things are really difficult to get, very expensive to get, but life goes on. We operate even when it's minus 50 outside. So that's our lives up here. I'm kind of, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is J.U. I manage maintenance department, and I have Aldin here. He's a maintenance person and also a building manager of that building you see on the screen. That's a 29-unit apartment, low rent apartment. That's 28,000 square foot in size and 29 apartments in there. That is about the largest apartment complex we have in entire North Slope borough. Aldin is been the building manager for that building and experiencing where we went through renovation that included updating the power in order to update, modernize things for the building. We put in new ventilation system, state-of-the-art ventilation system per unit. We added we put it from a gas stove. We updated gas stoves to induction ovens, and we're still not done with the job, but we're on our way to finish that renovation. Aldin, as a building manager, do you have something you can add?
The induction stoves are nice. They have their pros and cons. The surface area for the pans are not the greatest, but it is cleaner and is safer. Don't have to worry about any fire hazards or gas leaks. If one goes out, then we have to test the whole building. If someone turns off the main gas, we're gonna turn on the pilots for each unit for a gas pilot, which is very challenging. It would take several hours just to even check to make sure everything's working and safe for everyone to go back inside if there was an actual incident.
Right, I remember a couple of times we had that incident, a small gas leak, and fire department was called in, and entire tenants of that building had to evacuate and shiver in the cold for hours before everything was all checked, and then all that pilot lights put back on, and then it was quite a chaos we had a few times. And using gas has a advantage, but also the disadvantage of that we see is a safety. And by updating our gas ovens with induction oven, we feel much safer, and it's a clean energy. And actually, you are living in that apartment and building, and you are actually using the induction oven. You want to add some more things about characteristics or your experience using the induction oven?
It's a little challenging. Actually using the oven, sometimes if depends on what I'm cooking or actually baking, I have to rotate it because it's blowing the heat a little bit too quickly. But also, like, boiling water is sort of a challenge. I use a kettle before actually heating up water. So otherwise it would take at least an hour for it to actually heat up. Other than that, it's not too difficult once you learn how it operates.
Boiling water taking that long, you think it might have something to do with the cooking ware you're using?
It could be, but I'm not too sure. I haven't looked up what these pans are. I have to look up to see if there's anything else that might be better, because the surface area, it gets hotter in the middle of the pan rather than the whole bottom of the pan.
Right.
It does seem like too long, but you're using a Frigidaire model, is that right? Sort of the lower cost one?
Yes.
So it might be, I mean, it might be because of the quality of the stove, but induction stoves are famous for boiling water fast. So it seems like maybe there's something funky there.
Right. So we are looking into a different model, and also we are providing cookwares to the tenants recently, and then I think it's kind of resolving that matter. We need to hear from more tenants on that, but taking them that long to boil water doesn't seem normal.
Right.
I'm curious too.
Yeah, some of the tenants, I get complaints that they don't like the new stove. They have to like get rid of some of their, or not use some of their pots because they're either made out of aluminum or they're not magnetized to be able to heat up on that surface.
Aldin, I'm curious, because it's all these Frigidaire ones that we got, and this being our first time using induction technology. I hear from a lot of people that knobs rather than touchscreen controls would be more you don't have to like look at what you're doing. Do you think that would be a big part of improving the experience?
I think it would. It'd be a little easier to adjust the temperature. I've never really liked push buttons for any heat for a stove. Never really used them before, but I've never really liked them either. Just turning the knobs is actually a little easier. You're gonna adjust the heat a little better than rather than 1 through 9 temperatures.
Right.
Well, these induction ovens were probably one of the very first ones that our tenants ever really used and encountered. So we are having a little learning curve with this induction oven, but intention of having this induction oven was to get away from the worries of carbon monoxide, the gas leak, and the safety issue was a big concern. So we feel that switching over to this induction oven was a great move to get away from those worries. Anything you want to add, Griffin?
I think you covered a lot of great points there, Jay, and Aldin. Your firsthand experience in this, says to me that there's more than one model out there, and among any kind of technology, there's going to be a high, middle, and low end of features, and so we've got a lot to learn, from this first experience. One thing that sticks in my mind, I think, was March of 2020, a really cold day. We had a natural gas explosion in Utqiaġvik destroy a home and blow it off its foundation. I don't remember if you guys remember that, but
yes,
I remember sitting in the office 3 miles away from that and feeling like a truck rammed into the building. So certainly one of those things, as you're talking about the safety, and removing the potential for gas leaks and kitchen fires, and that's one of the first experiences that comes to my mind.
Yes. We had a house blown up with a gas leak. And also up here, because of the climate, because the temperatures year-round low. Today it's 30 degrees outside, and then it's snowing. In winter, with the wind chill, the temperature drops to negative 70, sometimes 80. With that, we have a huge concern over the air quality in our buildings, because it's so cold, and we need the new buildings we are building has a energy rating 5-6 star. We're practically making the buildings like on a refrigerator, and requiring a very high-tech ventilation system. Most of the old buildings we have in this town and in the villages lacking that ventilation system, and because of that, we have carbon monoxide concern and carbon dioxide concern, and because of that, I think our people living up here, the health is a big concern. So as a housing authority, we are focusing on improving that, and those two things, safety and especially the air quality we are shooting for is one of the most concern we have. So and as you see in the photo, we have tried different ways to build homes. That's one of the generation 3, I believe, Gen 3 home we built in one of the villages. We call it Flintstone home. It's a huge insulated foam, thick foam house with the solar panel on. So again, we really have to build our houses airtight, and for us, the safety and the air quality, those are the two things that we really have to pay attention with.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for being here with us. It like gives me a shiver, so to speak. Like, you guys are so far away and it's amazing. Like, here we are talking. So a question from Jim Lutz. He wanted to know, what's your electricity source and how reliable is it and how much does it cost?
Would you like to answer that, Griffin? You might be able to answer that a little better.
Sure. Yeah. So it's natural gas generation pretty much for all of Utqiaġvik. The 7 outlying villages, well, six of the 7 outlying villages are on diesel generation. One also has natural gas. In Utqiaġvik, it's about 14 cents per kilowatt hour. And you could probably speak more to the outages, Jay and Aldin, and kind of the power reliability and the impact it has on your division. I know that sends you guys scrambling every time the grid goes down.
Yes, we get a lot of power outage, blackout because of the weather and for various reasons. And that's another reason why we are looking into cogen. We're adding a backup generator for our buildings so that we make sure that our boilers are gonna stay on, so that we don't get a big damage from freezing pipes. That's something we always, not always, but we recently adopted, and we are planning to apply that to all the buildings we are building. We are blessed with the natural resources, the natural gas and oil, especially the natural gas. We get it really cheap, and that is really contributing quite a bit for the community. Our utility bill, just considering the temperature and where we are, is really reasonable. That is a big thing. Without that natural resources, the natural gas we're getting, it could be much harsh, much difficult to have everyone's living up here. Again, most of the oil is coming not too far from us. It's most of the oil, the pipe, Alaskan oil pipe is stretching from a town called Prudhoe Bay, which is about which is one of our villages in our region, and that crosses the entire Alaska state and goes to Valdez. That's where the oil is being shipped out. I kind of guess that you probably all remember Valdez, the oil spill.
Yeah.
That's where the oil is leaving Alaska. The pipe crosses entire state, and that starts from a town called Prudhoe Bay that is right at the Arctic Ocean. And that's one of our seven villages in our region.
There was another question here. David Jagger asked, you mentioned some complaints about non-compatible cookware. Were there positive experiences from the users as well? Did they share things that they did like? Something they enjoyed more than their previous ranges? I mean, the safety benefits, we should all appreciate that, but were there other things?
I haven't heard anything positive about the stoves from the tenants. A lot of times they come to me with complaints rather than anything else, and housing usually gets most of their feedback on a lot of stuff. I'm usually there just to see what's going on and make sure the building is up and running. And I'll run to the tenants once in a while, and that's when they'll say a complaint. I direct them to housing if they do have a complaint I can't handle for the building manager. If it's something that's more political, I direct them more to housing. Stove, it works as average. Is not much different than it would be for a gas. It'd just be nicer if I had more of the pan with the better surface heat. So if I use a big pan, not all of the surface is hot. Mostly in the middle is where it's the hottest.
I'll share that.
Yeah, so I think our housing department is helping tenants with the cookware. We are providing some cookwares for the tenants, and we kind of learn. This was our first attempt, and we're kind of learning from this first attempt. And we are looking at a different manufacturer and different model to have to resolve that complaints. We hear some, but as far as human lives concerned, safety is number one, and I don't think we will go back to gas stove at all. And also we are again blessed with natural resources up here. We use the energy very cheap, and even though we have to use the generator to produce the electricity for now, I'm hearing that we are looking into, not us, housing authority, but our political leaders in this region is looking into renewable energy resources. We have a lot of winds up here, so I personally believe that wind turbine is probably a good way to go. And we, during the summer, we have sun never sets. So for about 3 months, we are sun's up there 24/7. We have a downturn in winter where sun never rises for 3 months, but we get a lot of sun. So in fact, you see the solar panel on our one of the Flintstone homes. We have solar panels installed in almost all the homes we built in the villages, utilizing solar panel as a source of heating and hot water. So I think down the road, I think we have a good advantage with actually this harsh environment actually helping to transform these things into more cleaner energy.
That is really good to hear. One comment, which is Aldin, I don't, or Jay, either of you considered getting a large burner countertop induction range, just a single burner. It's something that I studied with the Pakistani family in the Bay Area, where they had a very large cooking surface that they'd cook on. And so we found just like a $200 small, but big enough. It was big, but it was for that pan. That might be a solution that doesn't have as much shipping involved, because you can just stack them up and you might get 10 of them in a box kind of thing, as opposed in the same space you'd have just one range and oven.
Yeah, it sounds like a good solution. We should look into that. Yes, thank you.
I'll follow up with you and share some of that research. Well, with that, we're at 3 o'clock, and so it was Aldin and Jay and Griffin. Thank you so much. It's an honor to get to meet you. Thank you for. I feel like you traveled a long way. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Take care.
Bye.